What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I've got some major news for you. Actor Alec Baldwin, in addition to Hannah Gutierrez Reed, have both been charged, and it hasn't been filed officially, but it's being said that they are expected to be charged with involuntary manslaughter in the shooting death of Halyna Hutchins on the set of their film Rust, which is funded by Alec Baldwin's production company. The shooting happened in October of 2021. The investigation has lasted the past 15 months, and we finally have some charges coming down. They're not the only two who have been charged, by the way. We will get into that a little bit later on into the video, in addition to the scathing statement released by the prosecutor on this case. But let's start at the very beginning. In October of 2021, Alec Baldwin, Halyna Hutchins, and Hannah Gutierrez Reed, in addition to several other people, were filming for the film Rust when an unfortunate, very tragic incident happened, which is Alec Baldwin was rehearsing to film a scene that involved a gun, and Halyna Hutchins, being a cinematographer for the film, was behind the camera helping him with his blocking, just to see how things would look on camera. And there, in a certain scene, Alec, as an actor, had to cock the gun towards the camera, but unfortunately, he did not check to see whether or not it was loaded with a live bullet. So typically in these films, it has to go through several inspections, a gun, to see whether or not there is live ammunition or dummy ammunition. So typically that is the work of the armorer to double, triple check. That is why Hannah Gutierrez Reed is being charged as well. But it's also the responsibility of the actor with the gun at the end of the day. I remember very clearly George Clooney saying when the news first broke, listen, I, as an actor, would never pull the trigger on a gun that I haven't checked myself and wouldn't be confident enough to point against my own head. And that's basically why Alec is being charged. So at the end of the day, the charge is involuntary manslaughter, which means that the law recognizes that this was an accident. But just because it was an accident doesn't mean that nobody needs to take responsibility at the end of the day. And so that's why we have this level of a charge for when things happen like that. Like obviously Alec, Hannah, and the other members of the set who were responsible for making sure that there weren't live ammunition in the gun, none of them set out to purposely end Halyna Hutchins' life. So now, when I mentioned a little bit earlier in the video that there was another person who had been charged, let's get into that situation. So the third person's name is David Halls, and he is the first, or was the first, assistant director for the film, and he agreed already to plead guilty to negligent use of a deadly weapon. So again, the charges have not yet officially been filed. All we know is that there's been an announcement that they will be charged with these things once the paperwork is done. It's just being formally announced to us, the public, at this moment. Now, when it comes to the manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter charge that Alec Baldwin and Hannah Gutierrez Reed are facing, according to NBC News, that is punishable by up to 18 months in jail and a $5,000 fine. But because there was a firearm involved, the charges could be a little bit stronger in the form of a mandatory 5-year sentence. So the prosecutor released a statement about all of this, and like I said, it was quite scathing, if I do say so myself. So let's get into what exactly it is that he said. He said, and I quote, "After a thorough review of the evidence and the laws of the state of New Mexico, I have determined that there is sufficient evidence to file criminal charges against Alec Baldwin and other members of the Rust film crew. On my watch, no one is above the law and everyone deserves justice." So I'm sorry I keep saying so, you guys, but mind you, Halyna Hutchins is not the only person who was shot while this incident went down. There was another person who was shot, but he managed to survive. Do you guys remember him? Joel Souza. He was the director of the film. He got shot, I believe it went through his chest or his arm or something like that, but he managed to survive what went down. The prosecutor, Andrea Reeb, actually added an additional statement about all of this. And again, it's even more scathing than the first. So this is what she had to say. If any of these three people, Alec Baldwin, Halyna Gutierrez Reed, or David Halls, had done their job, Halyna Hutchins would be alive today. It's that simple. The evidence clearly shows a pattern of criminal disregard for safety on the Rust film set. In New Mexico, there is no room for film sets that don't take our state's commitment to gun safety and public safety seriously. Halyna Hutchins was only 42 years old at the time of her death, by the way, and she survived by her husband and her 9-year-old son. It's just so sad. He was only 7 years old when this went down. Now, when you hear that statement that Alec, Hannah, and the other member of the set as well, David Halls, they all neglected to do their job. It was three people. All they had to each do was double and triple check that there wasn't live ammunition in there. And of the three brains, 0 could verify that properly. That is quite alarming. That is quite shocking. And that truly does deserve to be punished legally. And so I am quite happy to hear that charges have been announced. And it's not like something that like is a freak accident or anything like that that had no warning. People on the set of Rust had been complaining about the lack of gun safety, the lack of safety in other areas as well for quite a long time. And it was documented in the form of emails. There was even a staff walkout and everything. But people like Alec, who were what? The money behind the film, the producers behind the film, executive producers, they ignored these concerns and they continued to push along despite all the issues with safety there. So I see why they're being charged at this point. I see why he's charged. I see why Halyna Gutierrez Reed as an armorer is being charged. What is live ammunition even doing on this set? And in the investigation, they turned out they found several more live bullets. So that's on her. Now, I wanted to let you guys know as well that the family of Halyna Hutchins, meaning her husband and whatnot, they did release a statement about the charges that are coming down that I do want to read for you guys as well. He said, and I quote, "We want to thank the Santa Fe Sheriff and the District Attorney for concluding their thorough investigation and determining that charges for involuntary manslaughter are warranted for the killing of Halyna Hutchins with conscious disregard for human life. Our independent investigation also supports charges are warranted. It is a comfort to the family that in New Mexico, no one is above the law. We support the charges, will fully cooperate with this prosecution, and fervently hope the justice system works to protect the public and hold accountable those who break the law." So it's clear as day that they want to see Alec Baldwin, Halyna Gutierrez Reed, and David Hall pay for what it is that they allegedly did to contribute to the death of Halyna Hutchins on the set of this film. The one thing that I found, and I made a TikTok video about this, but I didn't have the time to make a YouTube video about it. But the one thing that I found quite strange in all of this was the way that Halyna Hutchins's husband or widower settled a civil lawsuit against Alec. He sued him, and then they decided to settle, which is great for her husband, her widower, and her son, of course. But one of the stipulations in the settlement was that he would work on the film. Like he would be like an advisor or something like that. That was always kind of strange to me. And I found it strange because you see, like, this is a film that was just so recklessly produced with no regard for safety. And that's why your wife has passed away. And the investigation is not yet done. So you don't even know if this is a film that can see the light of day. So why even want to involve yourself in that movie and work with these people knowing that? Like, that kind of tainted things for me, you guys. I can't lie. I know some people were quite upset with me saying that, but something about it was very odd to me, right? Especially when you're going to come back and say you support the investigation, you did your own investigation, and you found that these people were negligent, criminally so. So why? You know what I mean? Like, something about it just did not sit right with me, but I digress. People handle grief in different ways, so I don't want to go too hard on that. But again, I really am happy to see that there is going to be at least a criminal trial here so that we can see what level of responsibility each person is willing to take. It's also worth noting that Alec Baldwin was very cocky about this. He was already giving media interviews very early on because he really, 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 truly thought that he was never going to get charged. He even taunted someone on Twitter claiming that he would never get charged for this. So those words that he uttered on ABC with George Stephanopoulos, they're going to come back to bite him in the criminal trial, and you'll see that. And then there was also a roadside interview that he did that's going to come back to bite him. So he should have kept his mouth shut. It's going to be really hard for him at this point because now he has all these things, statements that he made in concrete that he's going to have to fight tooth and nail to stick to, right? Like in the trial as it comes. Like if he even veers off, they're going to come back and say, nope, you didn't say that when it initially happened. You initially said this. Let's roll back the tape. He should have kept his mouth shut, but he was way too damn cocky. And I remember his wife, the fake Spanish lady, Hilaria Baldwin. This happened October 21st, 2021. And do you know what Hilaria Baldwin, Hillary Hayward, do you know what she did on Halloween? She made a sob story post about her kids and herself, about how hard this Halloween was with all of the drama going on and whatnot, as if Halyna Hutchins's family is not the real family suffering here, right? The one who actually lost a mom, a wife, and whatnot. Her 7-year-old son did not have a mom on Halloween, Ilaria, so I was just very disgusted with her attitude since this went down, but I digress. Anyway, you guys, let me know how you feel about Alec Baldwin, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, and David Hall finally being charged for the shooting death of Halyna Hutchins, with all of your comments in the comment section down below. Again, may Halyna Hutchins rest in peace, and may justice be served for her at the end of all of this. It has been a long 15-month thorough investigation, and I believe that they've been thorough enough that it should be fruitful in the court of law. We already have somebody who pled guilty, now 2 more people, and there actually might even be more people who get charged later on. Only time will tell. Let me know what you think in the comment section, guys, and as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.